go a couple years in Vegas. Yeah. They were awesome.
I was outside of Chicago last Tuesday.
Baltus.
It's hard to pick.
Just give a favorite one.
When you get old, you can sit up there and tell us about it, okay?
I was in West Lafayette, okay?
I guess it was an old country song sung by the Louvin Brothers called "When I Stop Dreaming."
You took my song.
Oh, you can say it again. Go ahead, sing us a line. Just something.
Starts out, the worst that I've ever been hurt in my life, the first time I ever wanted to die. Oh, was the night too low? Night when you told me you loved someone else, and you asked me if I could forget. And it goes into "When I Stop Dreaming" with the harmony and stuff.
Oh, Cletus?
Yeah.
Probably a Merle Haggard song, "Favorite Memory of All."
It's a good song.
Sing a line.
Sing it. I said I liked it. I couldn't sing it.
Come on.
You just like the acoustical, didn't you?
Mildred, so do you want to sing your song?
Yeah.
Mildred, do you want to sing your song?
I don't know who,
I haven't heard
I don't know who does it, but I like that "High on the Mountain."
Oh,
Yeah, that's a good song.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's real
Yeah,
good.
that's a good song.
One of the best.
All right, Dad.
I don't know, I had so many.
He does like
I know, it is hard.
Saginaw, Michigan.
One I really like a lot. Billy Walker called "1,000,001."
Really? You know he died. No, Charlie Walker did. Well, Billy Walker got killed in a car wreck.
So can you sing a line from
Charlie
it?
Walker died a couple days ago.
No. All right.
Ronnie, West, anybody?
Val, just tell some stories about Muhammad Ali.
This is the best.
Oh, wow.
Brandon just left. Brandon's a big fan. He's got.
You boys know who Muhammad Ali is?
Cassius Clay.
Cassius, well, they probably know Muhammad Ali before they know Cassius Clay.
I know both.
Well, I know, I guess, believe it or not, I boxed Cassius Clay.
You
He
did?
sure did.
29th in
Used to
Greenwood.
knock his ears down.
Really?
Of
Under
course,
the
I was
street
older
light.
than him, and that's one of the first things my dad got me when I was about 10 years old was boxing gloves.
Huh.
And I loved to box. And I'd carry them boxing gloves around like somebody else would ball gloves. And I still remember when Mildred lived up there on Greenwood, around behind Washburn's, I went up there and there was these two young guys about my age sitting on the fence. And, you know, I was from out in the county, out in St. Denis, and they said, wised off something to me. You know, and so I said, hey, man, I said, you know, you guys thinking about fighting or something? And they made some kind of remark, and of course, you know, instead of fighting with the fist, I said, I'll tell you what, next time I come up here, I'll bring my boxing gloves. I mean, and they agreed to it. So, sure enough, that's what I did. So, next time I came up here, I put my boxing gloves on. And of course, they couldn't fight at all. And then we became friends. But Cassius Clay, and not only did I box him that one night, how many guys did box him? But,
Oh, there was guys back then.
I mean, he was a nice guy.
Lamont
Cassius-
Miles, Adrian Weber,
I
two
remember-
comes to mind. Adrian Weber was a real little guy. He was so fast.
yeah. But Cassius at that time didn't hit very hard.
No, Rudy was a better
I always
fighter
thought
at that time.
Rudolph was better than Cassius back then at that age.
He didn't mind getting
Because
hit.
Rudolph could punch harder than Cassius. Cassius wasn't, he's jumping around so much. If he hit you, it really wasn't going to hurt you.
It was that dancing like a butterfly, right?
Yeah.
Sting like a bee.
But he didn't, I'd say we did, you know, it's about like a toss-up. But I was older than him, but he was bigger than me.
You saw him in California one time. He walked right
Oh, yeah.
by
You
you.
gave him a pit
Yeah.
bull pup out there that you can't remember giving to him. Did you ever remember
I
that?
worked out there at a company, and Cassius came out there, and he was training down at what they call the Main Street Gym to fight some guy called Alejandro Lavarante, and some of these guys got to talking about him. I said, hey man, I know him. I said, let's go down to the gym. Y'all want to go down and see him? And of course, you know, I guess everybody said they knew him. So me and, I forgot if it's two or three of them guys went down there, and whenever we went upstairs and went to the gym, he was over on the other side of the gym doing something. Anyway, maybe jumping rope or something, but whenever he got done, he came, there was spectators lined all up he came over this way and started walking right down past us, and I didn't say anything to him. When he got down there, he looked, he stopped right there and said, "Hey, Malthus, what are you doing out here?" I said, "I live here, man." And those guys, that was with me. You know, I got a very unusual name, and he knew it. See, I'd say to this day, he still knows, he wouldn't recognize me. But I've always wanted to, when he came in town, in fact, I tried to find Rudy not too long ago, because me and Cassius was like buddies. I had a friend that fought named Billy Tuck, a white kid that could fight with anybody for 3 or 4 rounds, and then he'd get tired. See? Yeah. But he used to, before he'd fight, he'd come and stay all night at my house, him and his girlfriend, and he'd smoke. He wouldn't let his manager know, but Billy Tuck did not train. But whenever Billy Tuck would fight, then Cassius, he didn't have a car, he'd ride out to the fights with me and Carlene, you know, and then ride back home with us. So we was pretty close. And he was really a nice guy. That stuff that he did was jive. And I remember guys would be playing ball over there. There was like, for the railroad tracks, there was a dock over there, just concrete, and they'd go over there and they'd be playing ball. Cassius would be over there, he'd be shadowboxing. But that's what made him, he loved it. That's what made him good.
He's in town now.
Is he in town now?
The Ryder Cup.
PGA, the Ryder Cup.
He's got a house on Roy Tuck.
Yeah, they built a house here.
Well, his daughter just had that baby too, and
Oh, he didn't move here, did he?
Yeah, he's got
They
a
built the
house.
house.
I heard they were going to.
Yeah, but they backed out of that.
I heard it
You
back
want him to
down.
find out the house? He can find out the house.
Oh, you're right. Guy I know did some work on it.
The story that Cletus never has followed through, I told it to that damn reporter, what's his name? I still got it. I think I might not have his number in my wallet now. Was the guy that stole Cassius's bike.
Isn't it odd after all these years that no one ever laid claim to that, and I've
And
known
he knows
it for ever since 1972.
Who
I
stole
can keep a secret. Now, this,
I'd say he would like to meet the guy.
Who stole the
Beat
bike?
him up.
Nichols, who was it? Nichols?
Frank Nichols, Frank Nicholson.
They lived across the river.
He lived over in New Albany. A guy by the name of Frank Nicholson relayed this story to me while we were sitting in his Torino at 18th and Algonquin Parkway back in 1972. We got to talking about Cassius, as we always called him. Like he said, he was just a neighborhood kid to us.
Yeah, we didn't know
him and
each
his
other.
brother Rudy. And Frank brought up the fact that him, along with a guy by the name of Mousy Edwards, was the two that stole Cassius's bicycle that put him on the road to fame. What they did, the bicycle was locked, but Frank, can't remember now if he said he did it or Mousy did it. One of them sat on the handlebars of the other one and took the bike home and cut the lock off of it. We used to do that ourselves as kids. A locked bike, that was a challenge, you know.
Hey, Dad, tell your story about him.
Anyway, Frank being the bullshitter that he was, I never did really pursue it. But I thought it would be something historical if I could check it out, which I've never done. And before Cassius dies, which he ain't going to be around much longer, to call Frank's brother John and ask John if Frank knew a guy named Mousy Edwards. And if John knows a guy named Mousy Edwards, that leads to, at least it's a possibility. And I couldn't find John because he had moved from out there at Borden, Indiana, but he's still around somewhere. But no one has ever claimed to do that, and Frank just out of the blue up and told that. But like I said, he was a bullshitter, but I don't know why he would up and told that if it hadn't been true. You know, there was two of them, and they was riding double, so they needed another bike, and they liked that bike. And of course, y'all know the rest of the story. Cassius went in there to Joe Martin, I think it was, wasn't it, and wanted to learn how to fight because he's going to whoop somebody's butt.
There's a boxing gym right there.
Yeah, stole his bike.
Okay, Mildred Hall's
And he's went in there, he's complaining. Joe Martin, he better learn to fight first.
Yeah.
Okay, I always heard Grandpa ran him out of the yard.
He did.
Oh, Dad did.
My dad.
Grandpa chased him out of the yard with a broomstick.
No. Here's what happened. Cassius was playing in the backyard at Grandma and Grandpa's house on the other side of the railroad track. They're at 30th and Grand. I think their address was 3021 Grand. And we was out back playing, and Dad looked out there.
Grandma and Grandpa's house?
Yeah.
Because we lived 29.
Yeah, they lived at 3021, same side. And Dad, being like he was, old-fashioned in his ways, didn't want me playing with any what nowadays is called Afro-American. and run him off. Didn't embarrass me. I didn't care.
Ran him off of Grandpa's.
Off of Grandma and Grandpa's property. And all Cassius did was walk out the alley and stand down there and wait for me. We never even discussed it.
Didn't even bother.
Didn't bother either one of us. And then later on, Dad become a big fan of his. And I would mention it to him about being the one he ran off, and Dad would just, that's all he would ever do.
Hey, Dad was always
That's what Carlos does.
I think, what would Dad do with them people get down there gambling when he caught? Would he slip down there and throw rocks at them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then run back up to the house.
One of them ran home and came in the house, didn't he?
He had one guy to stand there, Red Gibbons.
Oh, yeah, that was...
I'll tell you what he did. He was down at the corner bar where he didn't belong. And Red was down there, and one of them said something about the kids.
Carlos.
I don't know which one.
Carlos.
And Dad, being the way he was, he took Red outside and told him to stand there till he got back. Well, stupid Red stood there, and Dad comes walking down the street
with my billy club that I found
and beat the man half to death. And then next morning, back then you couldn't get bacon. You remember that deal? I wonder if Red would like to have some bacon. One of y'all run down there and see how he is and see if he wants some bacon.
Barber.
Of course, you know who had to go.
Did he want bacon?
A barber said he saw it. In his shop, he said he heard the noise when Dad hit him in the head with that club. Or Billy.
But what was wrong with
I heard that Dad went back in the bar and
his hands doing
told him to come out.
I know that he went down
Come
the
walking
street.
with me, your hands behind you, and we'll find out.
All right, can we ask another question? All right, as siblings.
Dad ran a big 6-foot
Dallas Kaiser. Couldn't catch him.
Yeah, that guy was running.
My same Billy.
Oh, Dad. Dad. Tell your story.
Real quick, the one about you all under the street light. Just like one line.
Oh,
Who was at the street light playing?
just a bunch of us kids that used to play underneath the street light down at 29th and Greenwood, Cassius and the Webster boy and
Lamont White.
Lamont and, you know, a bunch of other guys.
Glenn. There was one of them named Glenn.
And Cassius looked at me and he said, well, first thing he said was, if I had hands as big as yours, says I'd whip anybody. Of course, then he said, one of these days I'm going to be champion of the world. He didn't say heavyweight or whatever. This was back, I think, whenever Floyd Patterson was still champion.
Probably.
56, 55, 56. And he just, I mean, that's what he told me. He said, one of these days I'm going to be champion of the world.
Hold your hands up. Let's see them.
Let's do his big hand.
Yeah. When I was little, when I was young.
Uh-huh.